Eliza Martinez adjusted the strap of her camera bag, her heart racing as she entered the pulsating chaos backstage at the sold-out concert. This wasn't just any night. She had landed her dream assignment, photographing one of the biggest rock stars of the decade, Raven Cross. Known for her brooding lyrics, electrifying stage presence, and notoriously private life, Raven was a legend. And tonight, Eliza would capture her soul through the lens. Eliza had spent months preparing for this moment. Her editor at Electric Pulse magazine had been clear: make every shot count, Eliza. Raven Cross doesn't just let anyone behind the scenes. The dressing room smelled of expensive perfume, sweat, and a faint tang of cigarette smoke. Crew members scurried about, tuning instruments and adjusting lights. Then she saw her. Raven Cross. Raven leaned against a sleek black piano, one leg bent at the knee, her leather jacket slipping slightly off her shoulder, revealing a glimpse of inked skin. Her eyes, dark and stormy, swept over Eliza with a mixture of curiosity and mild amusement. "You're the photographer?" she asked, her voice low, smoky, and teasing. Eliza swallowed, suddenly self-conscious in her casual jeans and t-shirt. "Yes, Eliza. I'll do my best." Raven smirked. "Good. Just remember, tonight's all about me. Make me look unforgettable." Eliza lifted her camera, trying to focus despite the nerves fluttering in her stomach. Something about Raven's intensity sent a thrill through her, a mixture of fear and excitement she hadn't felt in years. As she clicked her first few shots, she noticed Raven watching her every move, not critically, but with genuine interest, almost like she was sizing her up. And then, the moment that would define the night, Raven crossed the room in a few confident strides, stopping right in front of Eliza. "You know," she said softly, leaning close, "I'm lonely on nights like this. Why don't you be my girlfriend for one night?" As the concert began, Eliza moved among the chaos, snapping candid moments of the crew, the fans, and finally, Raven herself as she took the stage. The lights exploded in colors of gold and violet, strobes slicing through the darkness. Eliza's camera clicked rapidly, but her eyes kept sneaking toward Raven. Raven's performance was magnetic, effortless. She leaned into the mic, her hair wild, lips parted as if singing straight into Eliza's soul. Every glance, every movement, seemed deliberately aimed at her. Eliza felt herself melting under the attention she hadn't even asked for. During a break, Raven descended the stage stairs, disappearing briefly behind the curtains. Eliza followed, camera in hand, determined to capture her in a candid moment. She found Raven sitting on the floor, her back against the wall, looking more human than rock star. "You really do take a lot of photos," Raven said, smiling faintly. "I'm trying to catch the real you," Eliza replied, careful to maintain professional distance. "The real me is complicated," Raven murmured, eyes distant. "Do you ever wonder if people like me for who I am or the myth?" Eliza crouched beside her, lowering the camera. "Maybe they like the myth. But some people, they see the real you. They don't even try to pretend." Raven looked at her, really looked, and for a moment, the rock star mask dropped. "You might be one of those people." The air between them thickened, charged with an unspoken tension. Eliza felt her pulse in her throat. She had expected Raven to be bold, daring, and maybe flirtatious. But this vulnerability, this raw honesty, was disarming. Raven tilted her head, a smirk tugging at her lips. "So, about that girlfriend for one night thing. Are you still considering it?" Eliza's breath caught. Part of her wanted to say yes, wanted to surrender to the pull, even if it was just one night. But another part hesitated. This was Raven Cross, the icon, the legend, the untouchable. Eliza finally agreed, her heart a chaotic storm of excitement and nerves. Raven's hand lingered in hers for a moment, sending a shiver down her spine, before she leaned back with a devilish grin. "Good." One night, she said, as though sealing a contract written in electricity. The backstage corridor was dim, lit only by scattered stage lights. Raven guided Eliza toward her private trailer, her fingers brushing against Eliza's arm in a teasing, tantalizing way. "We'll keep this quiet," Raven murmured. "No cameras, no gossip. Just us." Inside, the trailer was surprisingly cozy, decorated with eclectic rock memorabilia and soft, ambient lighting. Eliza noticed a pile of photography books and journals on a shelf. Raven sat on the sofa, leaning back casually, but her eyes never left Eliza. "So, photographer by day, adventure seeker by night?" Raven teased, raising an eyebrow. Eliza laughed nervously, placing her camera on the table. "Something like that. I didn't expect to be seduced by a rock star tonight, though." Raven's laugh was low and throaty, her gaze locking onto Eliza's with an intensity that made her knees weak. "You're the first person tonight who hasn't fawned over me or pretended to be impressed. That intrigues me." Eliza's pulse quickened. She realized she hadn't noticed the tension in her own body until Raven's words wrapped around her like a warm, dangerous fog. Then, Raven moved closer, leaning in so that their faces were inches apart. Eliza could feel the heat of her breath, smell the faint leather and jasmine lingering in her hair. "I like this," Raven whispered, her lips brushing against Eliza's ear. "The thrill, the secrecy, you." Eliza's hand trembled slightly as she reached up to touch Raven's arm. "This is insane. I don't even know what we're doing." Raven's smirk widened. "That's the point." And, just like that, the night ignited. The next morning, Eliza woke to sunlight streaming through the trailer windows, her hair mussed and her heart still racing. Raven lay beside her, eyes closed, soft lines replacing the fierce persona from the stage. Eliza wanted to memorize every detail, the curve of her jaw, the faint freckles along her nose, the gentle rise and fall of her chest. It felt unreal, like she'd stepped into a world she hadn't known existed. Raven stirred and opened her eyes, smiling lazily. "Morning, photographer," she said, voice still husky from sleep. "Did you enjoy your one-night adventure?" Eliza swallowed hard, trying to maintain some composure. "It was unforgettable." Raven tilted her head, studying her. "You know, I didn't think I'd meet someone like you tonight. Someone who could see me beyond the stage lights, beyond the chaos. Someone real." Eliza's heart skipped. She had come to capture Raven's image, but she was now captivated by Raven herself. "I think I might have fallen for the myth," she said, half joking, half serious. Raven's smile softened, and she reached out to tuck a strand of Eliza's hair behind her ear. "Maybe it's not the myth you're falling for." Eliza's fingers trembled as she traced the outline of Raven's tattooed arm. She realized with a jolt that she had already crossed an invisible line. The night had been meant as fleeting, but her feelings were anything but temporary. The moment was interrupted by a knock at the door. Raven sighed, pulling on a hoodie and sitting up. "Duty calls," she muttered, though her hand lingered on Eliza's. As Eliza packed up her equipment, she knew that capturing Raven's image had become secondary. What mattered was this raw, unfiltered connection. And something deep inside her whispered that she wasn't the only one feeling it. Over the next few weeks, Eliza found herself sneaking glimpses of Raven in her mind, replaying moments from that night like cherished photographs. She kept her professional distance at first, convincing herself that it had been just a wild, fleeting encounter. But every time Raven appeared on her screen, every time she heard her music, Eliza's heart betrayed her. Then came the magazine spread. Eliza's photos captured Raven in ways the world had never seen: vulnerable, intimate, breathtaking. When Raven reviewed the proofs with her, she lingered over one shot, Eliza's favorite, a candid moment of Raven laughing with her hair falling across her face. This is beautiful," Raven said softly, her hand brushing Eliza's over the table. You really see me." Eliza's chest tightened. "I tried. You're more than everyone expects." Raven's eyes searched hers, suddenly earnest. "Eliza, I didn't think I'd say this, but I can't stop thinking about you. That night, it wasn't just a whim for me. You matter." Eliza felt her breath catch. All her fears, all the hesitation, melted away in that moment. She leaned closer, brushing her lips against Raven's. "I feel the same," she whispered. "More than I ever expected." For the first time, the fantasy became reality. Their connection, forged in a night of reckless desire, had blossomed into something tender, consuming, and true. Months later, Eliza and Raven navigated a new rhythm. Between tours, photo shoots, and public appearances, they built a private world of their own. The public saw Raven as the untouchable rock star, but behind closed doors, she was simply herself, laughing with Eliza over burnt pancakes, holding hands in silent understanding, and falling asleep to the hum of the city. One evening, after a particularly electrifying concert, Raven pulled Eliza aside, her eyes sparkling with mischief and something deeper. "Remember when I asked you to be my girlfriend for one night?" Eliza laughed softly, resting her head on Raven's shoulder. "I remember. And look at us now." Raven kissed her forehead. I'm glad I asked. Because I didn't just want a girlfriend for one night. I wanted you. All of you. And somehow, you fell first, photographer." Eliza smiled, squeezing her hand. "Maybe I did, but I don't regret it for a second." In the soft glow of backstage lights, surrounded by the echoes of music and the hum of city life, they both knew this was just the beginning. The night that was supposed to be fleeting had become forever a love story neither of them had planned, but both were destined to live. And for Eliza, the photographer who had once tried to capture the soul of a rock star, she realized that she had captured something even more precious, a heart that beat in perfect rhythm with her own.